Hey, peace, world. From time to time, I've come on and I've done some videos, my weekday afternoon check-ins, and done some "this is boxing" rants, and tried to tackle some things that I didn't like, some stuff that I thought was foul or were hurting the game. Um, you know, weigh in on it, and I really try to stick to what's on the schedule and what's happening in the ring, and then analyze what happened in the ring. That's kind of where I try to keep my focus. Um, this week, there's no fights going on. Tonight we have Joe Smith and the Callum Johnson. That fight fell apart, and now there's somebody Jafard or something is in there. I do want to see Arthur, or what's his name? Abraham Nova. I do want to check him out, but Joe Smith, not not somebody, not appointment watching, appointment worthy boxing in my opinion. But wow, what's going on right now with boxing, and I guess my biggest question would be, this lawsuit from Terence Bud Crawford against his former longtime promoter. They're saying that his career was has been impacted by racist attitudes and racial bias at top rank, and especially the face of the company for 4 or 5 decades in Bob Arum. A lot of this stuff that's going on right now, to speak on it and try to be a voice of reason, or try to look at things logically, to understand things. It almost has you coming across as being defensive of something that you're not trying to defend. You just have you just have questions about it. And for me to sit here and I know on YouTube, 11 out of 10 black boxing fans probably without question, you jump on the fact that you fall in line with Bob Arum being racist. Good for you. Good for you. I just, I struggle. I struggle to understand a person that's made his living in boxing with all of the black fighters that he's worked with throughout the decades, iconic names in boxing. I struggle to see how a person has been that close to the sport, largely driven by black American fighters, and the dude is just flat out racist. I struggle that Bruce Carrington, the Davis brothers, Jared Anderson, who was part of that Olympic team and left Team USA Boxing to go pro before the Olympics. Like I said, the Davis brothers, Delonte Johnson. I struggle, and some of them under the direction of James Prince and Antonio Leonard. All of these black men are sitting down with this white man or Jewish dude, whatever you want to call him, and they're all oblivious to the fact that this man is a brazen racist. That doesn't line up for me. That just doesn't line up for me. So I'm looking at this lawsuit. I don't really think it has that great of a chance. I'm not a lawyer. Don't play one on TV or YouTube. I'm struggling to see how you have a division best guarantee for 3 or 4 years or whatever. Division best guarantee in the biggest division in boxing, welterweight. You have it's not even 1 times. It's like 2.5 or 3 times is his guarantee for each fight. and they're paying. Okay, so I just think it's, to sum it up, I think it's going to be fairly simple for Top Rank to show what we paid you, what we paid subpar, the best opponents that we could get, and what we had to pay them to fight you, coupled with the fact that we could not get anybody from the quote unquote across the street. It wasn't even it didn't matter if no official offers were sent. None of them were going to accept that offer. If you listen to the vice president of communications, Tim Smith, I'll get to his comments on the PBC podcast in a couple of minutes. I heard him say it last year, Tim Smith, about not being interested in helping out Top Rank with polishing up or helping improve the appeal of Terence Crawford. He said it last year when he appeared on something. Does anybody else are there any other positions at PBC besides the communications director? You know, is there anybody? Are there other offices over there? That's just a legitimate question. But I mean, that's the only guy that we hear from them from time to time. But when Top Rank opens the books as much as they need to defend themselves, I really fail to see how it's going to definitively how the result of the law case could be this dude is a racist. They used because of their racist attitudes towards you, they harmed your career. Then we also jump to the current. When Saul Canelo Alvarez was a free agent or able to go do what he wanted to do, the conversation with PBC and the attention and the interest from PBC and Showtime seemed a lot different than where we are right now with what's going on with Terence Crawford. As we see in Tim Smith's his recent appearance on the PBC podcast, where he talked about the economics, which all of this stuff is about, is economics. So good luck with this lawsuit. It seems like the interest from the PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, has been pretty cold, especially in comparison to the reception that we saw shown towards Canelo Alvarez. We don't see much activity for Terence Bud Crawford. We don't see much interest in bringing him over there to face anybody, let alone Errol Spence Jr. We just don't see it. So even after this relationship, there was this acrimonious relationship and all this stuff, nobody really paid attention to it. None of the big time YouTubers really focused on the fact that the best fight available for Terence Bud Crawford pretty much seemed to be Josh Taylor over across the Atlantic. That seemed to be the best opportunity. Whether or not Bud Crawford wanted to take it or not, or he wanted to truly break free from Top Rank, that seemed like his best bet, based on what's out there from the PBC. What's my man on the African cat that does the, like, at the end of it, your best fight is Josh Taylor, and you got to go on the road to do it. Here you are at 34 years old or whatever, 37 and 0, 38 or whatever and 0, and that's your best option. Which gets me to the fact that another thought here with is piracy the real problem? The fact that nobody's buying pay-per-views. Now, and you talk about Deontay Wilder, you say a question out loud about him, and you got problems. You'll sell out. You a coon. You a Uncle Tom. You a Tom. Whatever. For the people who can truly listen and understand a point, a colleague told me, and I hear it on here regularly that Deontay Wilder is the face of boxing, the face of American boxing. Okay, maybe. I'm just sitting here tripping that, again, just looking at the economics, just looking at the numbers. How can this man, how can he have this third fight, this trilogy bout against Tyson Fury? All the buildup, all the 18 months, whatever it was, whatever, however long, all the buildup, all these live streams and all of these big time channels, all of these healthy live chats, all the money donated, all the Cash Apps, Venmos, WhatsApp, all this shit for all this time. The court case being resolved in Wilder's favor and delivering him that fight. A couple of months to promote it. All this excitement. This is the most important. This is a pivotal fight, a pivotal moment for the Bronze Bomber. And the end result was that the pay-per-view buy number, the buy rate, was less than the rematch, where everybody wanted get it back in blood or redemption in blood or whatever Team Wilder's tagline for the fight was, get it back in blood or revenge in blood, whatever it was. All of this talk, and it was significantly less. It wasn't just 10,000 less. It wasn't just 25,000 less. It was significantly less. The people who organize these fights have to be sitting here looking at this stuff like, I was going to open with that scene from The Usual Suspects when Gabriel Byrne, they killed all the people on that boat, and they were like, there's no coke. There's no coke here. There's no coke. There is no dope. That's what these people are doing. There is no money. There is no money in boxing. There's no money up front for these people to go out and do big events. And then when they put all of this stuff on pay-per-view, nobody's buying it. There's no easy money in boxing. Talking about racism. You mean to tell me that somebody has a device, has a way on their device, however they stream and get entertainment and watch movies that are in the theaters or even before they hit the theaters? You mean to tell me that people had this stuff on their TV and then come fight night to support their guy, to see the fight that they want to see? You mean to tell me they're not going to pirate the $80 fight that they want to see? You mean to tell me that people are that noble and upstanding that, yeah, I could watch it for free on this app or whatever. I could watch this shit free. I'm going to go and pay $80 of my hard-earned money because I love boxing that much. That's not happening. That's just not happening. A couple of years ago, they had the story out there. I got the press release. I might have deleted the press release, but I know I did a video on it. But Auburn was at the Final Four 2 or 3 years ago, and Deontay Wilder, they had Deontay Wilder come in and do a segment. And after that segment, Showtime or the communication people for PBC, they sent the press release that nearly 14 million people sat and watched the segment with Deontay Wilder where he sat in at the desk and talked basketball in his career. Nearly 14 million people watched it. None of his pay-per-views have been over 1 million. That's not me hating on that brother. I'm just trying to see what the correlation is between any of these numbers and this stuff out here, any of these measurables, and whatever the pay is, whatever his purse is. I'm trying to see what the correlation is to why it doesn't result in high buy rates. That's a simple question. It's not hating on the man. If he is this popular, you got people bending the knee, kissing his man's ring, calling him their king, worshiping this man, telling blatant lies about his performances and refusing to acknowledge certain things and just whether it's meat riding, dick riding, whatever slang you want to say about it, this man has truly impacted some brothers across this country in a profound way. But when he has a fight and it's on pay-per-view, it's not great business. It doesn't line up with all the other great numbers throughout the years. There is no easy money in boxing. A trilogy bout with multiple knockdowns and all types of great highlights between the first two fights, both men being knocked down. Tyson Fury raising up from the dead in the first fight. All the cheating allegations and all the in-depth videos on how he cheated in the rematch. All of this stuff. And it didn't move the needle. Back to Terence Crawford. When Top Rank can say, we paid this man this, his peers were getting paid lesser. We had this pay-per-view less than 100. And that's the thing. Back to I'm jumping around a little bit. The Porter fight. The PBC fans, the Porter fans, the Terence Bud Crawford detractors. Here comes Sean Porter, his best test. All this interest in his fight. Sean Porter is going to show us that this boy ain't shit. This boy ain't never been shit. This boy ain't never fought nobody. This boy this, that boy this. Sean Porter going to show him what real boxing is. Sean Porter this. I really think Sean Porter has a great chance. I think Porter is going to punish this boy. All of this talk. Didn't even the fight came. Great money paid to Terence and good money paid to Sean Porter to be there. Less than 150,000 buys. Now, if you want to say they put that shit on ESPN Plus where you gotta pay $6 for that shit, and then you gotta buy the fight. And that's just what it is, bro. I don't. Was that racist because they stuck it behind that paywall versus just putting it on regular ESPN pay-per-views? I don't know. I don't make those. That shit is above my pay grade. Why did nobody buy the fight though? Why didn't nobody on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? Why only 135,000-ish people buy the fight? And this was a pivotal fight. It's a top 5 fight that could be made at the time. There's no Coke. There's no Coke. There's no easy money in this shit. So nobody is really willing to nobody is going to sit here and be willing to take a smaller pie and divide it up with other people and do all this work for nothing versus doing the convenient stuff and making the convenient matches and keeping the whole little small pie and hope that you can keep telling the people the same story, that they'll keep buying the same story. I can't say why well, and I'll say this, I'll close with this. As you know, some people want to point to the fact that Bob Arum said this, and he made some disparaging comments about Terence Crawford. He talked about it being him being bad business that made him look bad to the public. Yada yada yada. I'm struggling with that too. Charles Barkley has sat around on TNT, Emmy-winning Charles Barkley, Subway spokesman or voiceover. Charles Barkley has sat around for multiple years and talked about openly in the studio with Ernie, EJ, the Jet, and Shaq. Openly sat there and said that he wouldn't pay to watch 90% of the teams in the NBA. He sat there and said it multiple times. Most of these teams are trash. Most of the play in the NBA is trash. He wouldn't go out of his way to watch none of this shit. He said it multiple times. Over the last 2 seasons, head coach Bruce Arians, he has come out after Tom Brady had the 3 or 4 interceptions last year when Tom Brady mismanaged the what he thought it was a 4. He had the downs confused or something. Bruce Arians went out there and said some stuff about Tom Brady, or was critical of Tom Brady. The Tom Brady. The Aaron Rodgers situation in Green Bay, they said some tough stuff about Aaron Rodgers. We've heard some stuff between Russell Wilson and the coach. Can't think of my man's name. I'm drawing a total blank on the head coach's name. Whatever. It's a day and age where all kind of stuff is being said. It ain't all of these damn podcasts and Instagram lives and live streams, and it ain't all this shit ain't out here because nobody hasn't heard somebody say something. Did Bob Arum say some racially tinged things and call light to some stereotypical things or elements in the black community, street culture, and all of this stuff when he made some comments about the PBC? Yeah. Sitting here watch an upstart come in and take away from the way that business was being done and disrupt things and have a very popular roster, a very popular, inexpensive roster, will put pressure on you. You think Sony, when the Walkman, all kind of different Walkmans were popping and people was buying Walkmans, and that was great business for Sony? That was a great business and a high seller, generated a lot of money for Sony. The Walkman, the Discman. And you think when Apple came up and dropped the iPod on their ass and nobody looked back at a Discman ever again, you think Sony wasn't pissed off? You think Sony was just like, okay, back to the drawing board. Let's get to product to R&D. Let's get to product development. Let's go. Nah, it's wiped out their business. I saw a 60 Minutes show where they showed an iPod to the Sony executive, and he was hurt. He was like, "Man, get that shit out of here. I don't even want to be in the same room with that product." It was years ago. But back to my point, I see a lot of foul comments made on here on this platform. I see a lot of foul comments made along racial lines and whatnot. Nobody says I'm sorry. Nobody says, "Ah, that was in poor taste. Ah, that was I shouldn't have said that." Nobody ever says that. People say what the hell they want to say. It ain't even no build up to saying the hard shit. It's people lead with the hateful shit and the racist shit. James Prince, Antonio Leonard, they get a fighter, they go to top rank. Did some big fights throughout? Did Miguel Cotto and Manny and Oscar and Floyd? Did they all leave? I just see a company that, again, as the economics in the business have changed, they just seem to be reluctant to take the bigger chances. They seem to be more of a frugal company. Here's not everybody can just go out here and shamelessly, as the PBC has done of late, shamelessly go out here, put a Ortiz versus Charles Martin on pay-per-view. What was that, under 50,000, under 40,000 buys? Uh, Several pay-per-views in 3 or 4 months. They seem to be a lot less comfortable with going to paper. They have and it they haven't had the names to really justify doing it. But anyway, man, here we are. It's a new year. We have probably won't get to Spence and Port. Like I said, if this trial, even if the lawsuit was wrapped up even if the court, even if the judge threw this shit out, and this is gone by the end of February. Uh, what options does Terence Crawford have? If the lawsuit goes nowhere, and I'm top ranked, and no harm, no foul. Let's make. I still got Josh Taylor here for you. If Taylor beats Catterall, which I imagine he would, like that fight is gone now. What is the next move for the man? Eddie Hearn, does he have any? I guess Golden Boy on the Zone has Victor Ortiz. Wrong name. Virgil Ortiz Jr. It is Ortiz, isn't it? Virgil. I guess they have him. They already got another fight lined up for him, I believe, or they targeted somebody. But what? Because let's be real, like Clarissa Shields and Demet Salita Promotions, they went out there and did their pay-per-view thing before she went over to the MMA. Mm, Crawford and the B&B, whatever it's called, him and Bomax thing, they don't really have the capabilities to do that and just go out here and just organize their own pay-per-view, whether it's Virgil or shit, who else is even out there? Crowley that just beat the Quadratillo guy or whatever, or Abdul Kakarov, whatever his name is. Uh, what's his next move? This just seems like a hell of a time to want to go and make a point or to try to be made whole when it seems like you shot yourself in the foot. You he was complicit in harming his own future. Last I get out of here, but I find it hard to believe. The man played in the 2018 NBA Celebrity All-Star game. We don't have another boxer doing anything mainstream except for the sit down I just told you about with the segment that Wilder came in on and set in off for the Final Four. But the man played in the 2018 ESPN. I think that's ESPN. Yeah. Celebrity All-Star game. Was smiling out there, but he's boring. He's boring. Anyway, let me get on out of here, man. This is boxing. I just wonder if we'll see Bud again. I really do. He seems like he's burned himself. Maybe this works out for him in the end. And let me get on out of here. Appreciate anybody that watched 3 minutes of this. I know you gotta yell racist. You gotta pick a side and fight tooth and nail. And the popular side would be to say that Bob Arum and Top Rank are racist. I don't know, man. I don't know. You willingly enter into an agreement to give a man the best money in the division for multiple years and getting the best opponents possible. Of course, we had Muhammad Ali's daughter came out and said, hey, he was with my father. He was my father's guy. The company was started with the Nation of Islam. It was a joint venture with the Nation of Islam. You know why? He's good for us. That's what I'm saying. This constant thing constantly draws some of us in defending a white person. And you're just like, well, my dealings with him have been above board. I don't see it. James Prince would be like, hey, we give fair compensation. The checks don't bounce. Our guys get groomed properly. They on a good platform. I'm okay with dude. But here, and the case kind of falls apart when you start out with he don't like black people. Then you start talking about Puerto Ricans, Asians, and Mexicans too. He don't like none of them. Okay. I'm out. Bite down boxing. Don't let them count you. That wasn't what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Let me get on out of here. Peace. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Check out the fights tonight.